What is going on, everybody? It has been far too long. For those that do not recognize this voice, do not recognize this face, I am the franchise, and this is Wrestle Talk with the franchise. It's been a minute. If you guys have been following the RCW Royal Club Instagram page, you do know that for the past 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, I was under the weather. Legit got sick, started feeling the illness Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, full-blown hit, and I was out for the weekend. Felt better the following week, and literally the same pattern happened. Tuesday started feeling it. Wednesday started coming more into it. Thursday, Friday, out. Done. Could not do anything. Was not COVID. I think it was just seasons change. It's the time of the year where everybody ends up getting sick. So I happen to be one of those that got sick. But I am better. I missed doing this. I am going to try not to be as long, because 2 weeks of not recording and having so much content, so much story, so much stuff to talk about. I have my notes, and my notes originally were about a couple pages long because of everything that has transpired. But I cut it down because I do have questions. Hence the title of this episode. I'm back and I have questions. So I don't want to waste any time. We have Bad Blood to talk about. We have some AEW things to talk about. And we're going to briefly talk about the Vince McMahon docuseries that will be dropping this week, and next week you'll be getting 2 episodes, because I will be giving you guys the normal Wrestle Talk, but then I'm going to do a separate episode strictly on the Vince McMahon docuseries. It will be a recap of the docuseries. So, and I don't want to take away other things to talk about that is within the current wrestling stage to talk about the docuseries, which can take up anywhere from half hour to 45 minutes, even possibly to an hour. So I don't want to make that a longer episode. Like, I don't want to make this episode a long episode as well. So with all that being said, let's dive right into this. Bad Blood. Bad Blood is in 2 weeks, October 5th in Atlanta. It's been the conversation. It's been the talking point. It's been since they announced that Bad Blood was coming back. And I didn't realize the irony behind it. We all kind of had suspicions that we were going to get a Hell in a Cell, maybe more than one Hell in a Cell. That's what I thought. I thought we were going to, obviously, we all know Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk is in the confines of a Hell in a Cell. I'm going to talk about that. I thought we were going to possibly have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley in Hell in a Cell because of how intense that rivalry is but we're not. And I'm not upset with that. We have Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. And then we have the tag team match as of right now that I don't want to keep saying I have questions, but I'm trying to figure out, was this the original plan, or was this a plan that had to deal with Jimmy Uso? And because Jimmy Uso is no longer, or is not currently in the picture, we have Cody Rhodes teaming up with our tribal chief Roman Reigns to go against the bloodline of Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Now, you know, when it comes to the bloodline and it comes to this storyline, I am always going to have a lot to talk about in regards to that. But let's dive into what I 9 out of 10 believe is going to be the main event at Bad Blood. And that is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. Now, when they announced that Bad Blood was coming back, and they announced this match, we all kind of figured that it was going to be a trilogy, and we all figured that it would probably culminate inside of Hell in a Cell. And you kind of figured that when CM Punk was at the press conference, and he alluded to a Hell in a Cell because somebody asked him a question about it, and he basically said, you don't give this match right now. And he kind of alluded to, I'm not really a big fan of Hell in a Cell, but here we are. And it is 27 years to the day, October 5th, 1997. We got Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell, which was the debut of Kane. So I completely get why they're not having more than one Hell in a Cell, because you are paying homage to arguably one of the most destructive matches and creations the WWE has ever come up with. And you don't want to do too much, because this match is going to be brutal. This match is going to potentially get bloody. And like I said in a previous episode, I feel though as if these matches that CM Punk is creating in the WWE is very similar to what he was doing in AEW. He had his big story with MJF. He had his story with Hangman. I think we may get that here. I think we're going to get, well, we already have Drew and Punk. Like I said before, we will get Seth Rollins and him. And when him and Seth Rollins go at it, it's going to be very similar, in my opinion, to him and Hangman. But they're going to be able to really be professional with their with how they're going to do this match. This past Monday, CM Punk was there, and CM Punk cut probably one of the better promos. I mean, not better. He cut, to me, his best promo since coming back to the WWE. He wasn't shouting. He was very mellow, if you want to say that. Because this rivalry went up a notch, and it went up a notch off of the bracelet. And I said, I believe it was the last episode that I was on that we covered Bash in Berlin. And I said, if we get this, we are going to get this again, but it has to get, Drew McIntyre has to break the bracelet. I said, it probably will be a replica. It probably will be a dummy one. And Drew McIntyre has to break it. And Monday night, that Monday, when that episode dropped, that Monday, he did it. And legit, you can go on to the Instagram page. It is there. Immediately following that act, I cut that part of me saying Drew McIntyre had to break this bracelet and went right to the clip of him breaking the bracelet. It had to get to that point. It did. And you have this side of CM Punk that is basically saying, I am willing to risk it all for this match. So much so that when he said this, if you guys watched Raw, you've seen Drew McIntyre was not there. However, Drew McIntyre did indeed go on to social media. He went on his Instagram, and Drew McIntyre posted this video right here.
It was the devil inside of me who said, do this. If this is the end, so be it. I'm prepared to die.
So this is October 5th, Hell in a Cell, and the build-up to this is going to be absolutely incredible. Let's turn our attention to Sheamus for a moment. Lately, his old mate, he does.
That's what I've been waiting for. I can't help myself sometimes. I'm obviously at home. But I just watched what you had to say and that look in the eyes. That's a man that's ready to go all the way. To try to hurt me, but a man that's willing to go out on his back. This has been 32 weeks now. This has been going on. And, I've been doing all the heavy lifting. Obviously, you got a nice little break, some time off to spend with your wife and stupid-looking dog. I didn't get any time off, and I was begged to stay at home this week because the brass are worried about their main event, the Hell in a Cell, if anything was to happen tonight. And I took it because, for once, I want a week off. I want to spend some time with my wife, my cats. But that's the man that I've been waiting to see. I can tell you how many matches you have left. 1. I can make you a promise too. One of us is not walking out of Hell in a Cell. I'm going to enjoy my week off. Glad to finally see you show up, Phil.
A certain individual made a comment this past week, which I'm going to address. He happened to say there's a certain storyline that is the most compelling in wrestling today. One would argue this is the most compelling storyline going right now. I will say it's second, but it's there. You have the layers. It is personal. It is to that point where you have no other choice but to have this match inside of the structure that is Hell in a Cell. Who do I have winning? At this moment, I do not know. I have no idea, because the question then will be, what happens next? Because in my opinion, if CM Punk wins, where does this leave Drew McIntyre? Where does Drew McIntyre go from here? And the same could be said for CM Punk. If Punk loses, where does he go from here? Who does he get into it with? The betting odds is we will get CM Punk versus Gunther. That appears to be Gunther's next rival or next match after we all know him and Sammy is going to compete for the world title. So after that, it could possibly be CM Punk and Gunther. But where does this leave Drew McIntyre? Is this a situation where after this match, we don't see Drew McIntyre for some time and then he resurfaces maybe at the Rumble? I don't know. It's one of those situations where we really cannot pick. I cannot pick at this moment, who do I have winning? It's going to be a great match. Probably the best match that they've had within these two matches. Obviously, the match at SummerSlam, the match at Bash in Berlin was a strap match. This might be the best match that they have to conclude this rival. I just have to wait and see. At this moment, like I said, I cannot pick a winner. I cannot pick a winner. I do know I have a winner for the Women's World Championship between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I have Liv winning. Now, we all know this story. We know now I think Triple H and the WWE is sticking it to Rikishi, who I'm going to bring up later. Sticking it to Rikishi because Rikishi, and I said this before, if this was a different time, they would have probably Jey Uso job out, lose these terrible matches to people that he doesn't need to be losing to. But I think what they're doing is they're pushing and they're just pushing that button with Rikishi. And what I mean by that is you have Rikishi talking about, at one point, we talked about it on here, him getting upset about how they're treating the Yeet Man and they're putting him with Liv Morgan. I mean, not Liv, putting him with Rhea, and it's going to jeopardize his marriage, all this stuff. And now what are they doing? They are playing into the idea that Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley will be some form of an item. I believe recently Jey Uso on his Instagram posted a photo. It was a drawing, a cartoon drawing of him with Rhea Ripley behind him and her hand on his chest. And you could tell that they're like, okay, we're going to play into this. We are definitely playing into the idea that this is going to happen. Even though you've seen Rhea Ripley post her photos with Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews has went on live. You hear Rhea in the background. We know she is married, newly married at that. Jey Uso's been married. So I don't get the Rikishi feeling though as if the WWE is trying to break up their marriage. It's not going to happen. Like I said before, if it did happen, the marriage was not supposed to. The marriage was in shambles from the start. But back to Liv Rhea, I have Liv Morgan winning, and the reason I have her winning is because of outside interference. But it's not from Dirty Dom. It's not nobody from Judgment Day. I can see a situation where Raquel Rodriguez returns and screws over Rhea Ripley. I see that. I can see a situation where Raquel is now the muscle to protect Liv Morgan. It's her heater, similar to how Mercedes Moné has, I forgot her name, but has that particular heater. That's what you have with Liv. Liv and Raquel were friends, were tag team partners, were champions at one point. It can be Rhea Ripley is now answering for all the wrong that she did. So we can have a situation where Raquel comes back to screw her out because she's like, I remember what you did to me. I remember what you did to Liv. So now it's your time to go through what we went through. And we can possibly see her align herself, obviously, with the Judgment Day. Because if we're going to be honest, this is similar to what we're seeing or what we potentially could see happening on SmackDown with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns. What do I mean? Let's dive into the next match. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. This might be the best that we've seen of Finn Balor in a very long time. I also want to point out Finn's reasons behind the turn on Priest. We all know it was a year ago. Finn was competing for the world title against Seth Rollins. Finn had the opportunity to win, and Priest teased cashing in, threw Finn off. We all know what happened. We all know the Judgment Day's motto. There is no leaders amongst the Judgment Day. They're a pack of hyenas. Priest, Rhea, inserted themselves, even though they did not say they were, but they presented themselves as the leaders of Judgment Day. And we know once you do that, all bets are off. And Finn brings up a lot of valid points that makes it appear, though, as if, just like Rhea, Priest now has to answer for the wrongdoings that he did within the Judgment Day. Even though the fans are pro-Rhea and the fans are pro-Priest, they still have to answer for their wrongdoing, for them doing what they did. Them making it more about them, even though the fans did it. It wasn't by choice. The fans naturally wrapped their arms around these two and said, "You are our people. We mess with you." Obviously, I think Priest is going to win this match. I don't know where we go from here. Is it a situation where Priest goes through the whole Judgment Day? I mean, this is their first match. I think we may get 2 other matches from Priest and Finn, but we'll have to wait and see from here. But I do have Priest winning that match. Now, sit back. If you haven't got your popcorn already, make sure you get your popcorn. Because we got some Bloodline stuff to talk about. The match that I did not expect, this match right here, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. I did not expect this. As you all know, I expected Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. We are still getting Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. But it may end up being at the granddaddy of them all. It may end up being at WrestleMania. I believe it was supposed to be Jimmy and Roman against Solo and Jacob. But then we have this tweet this post from one Rikishi. And ever since he posted this, he's been quiet, hasn't really said much. One can only imagine that this might have been just for clickbait, to garner the attention, to have people thinking something is really wrong with Jimmy Uso. I'm not going to go into what I heard many people, podcasters, reports are saying about Jimmy Uso. You can look it up. It's pretty horrific. And for Rikishi not to address it, and leave people to make up these speculations, is pretty fucked up. But was this the plan all along? Were we getting Roman Reigns teaming up with Cody Rhodes to go against the Bloodline? And the reason why I say that was this the plan all along is because, see, now you can have the long-term booking and the depths of the layers that the story will get us to. Triple H said in a press conference that when Roman Reigns indeed returns, what he has in store, the stories that will be told, will be nothing like we've ever seen before. This is only the tip of the iceberg, and he's not lying. What we're getting is the tale of how one event can shift both directions in this world, in this universe. You have Cody Rhodes teaming up with Roman Reigns. You have one person right now in story who is completely blindsided and does not know how to react to this. And that would be Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens does not know how to react to this. He doesn't. For years, the Bloodline has ruined and has destroyed and has done damage to Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens now sees that Cody Rhodes is aligning himself, no matter what it was, aligning himself with Roman Reigns. Because if you remember, when Roman returned on the SmackDown, the first SmackDown on USA Network 2 weeks ago, and Solo told Nick Aldis, I want this match, Cody said, I'm done. And within 45 minutes to an hour, he changed tones. He changed his whole demeanor. Now he is. I have a reaction video to the probably one of the best segments in wrestling history with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at the Georgia Tech football field. You will see that, where I get more into detail about that. But this past Friday, Kevin Owens was going to express his feelings about that moment and about just the whole thing, because it threw him for a curveball. I don't think we're going to, because everybody's kind of hinting that Kevin Owens may turn heel and all this. I don't think so. I think Kevin Owens is going to be kind of neutral, where he's having this internal battle. Because on one hand, he wants to attack Cody and be like, what the hell is wrong with you? But on the other hand, he's like, you're my friend and I can't do that. You know who can do that? You know who will do that? The Viper himself, Randy Keith Orton, RKO. He is going to turn on Cody so quick, and he has valid reason to do so. I've said it before. I will continue to say it. This man can sit there and cut the most scathing, dark promo about how the Bloodline, Roman Reigns in particular, took away 18 months of Randy Orton's career. So much so that we did not even know if Randy Orton was going to come back. And you, out of all people, aligned yourself with him. You know who else will probably have something to say about this? Seth freaking Rollins. Because if it wasn't for Seth freaking Rollins taking the quote unquote bullet for Cody, would Cody be world champion right now? Would Cody be undisputed champion right now? I don't think so. I don't believe so. You know what also this brings about? Because I'm talking about Cody and his story. What about Roman? I've been alluding for months, since Solo Sikoa said by orders of the tribal chief. For months, I have been saying that. The event of this match, the magnitude of this match, can only cause one person to return to look at Roman Reigns and say, how could you? And that is indeed the final boss. The Rock appearing, returning at some point in time, and tell Roman Reigns and Cody, but more so Roman Reigns. That man right there cost us the biggest match of all time in WrestleMania history, because he granted this to me and then he took it from us. And you decide to go against family. His mind, Rock's mind, is going to say you went against family over you picked family. You picked Cody over family. And that can cause Roman and Rock to be created. Now, we could possibly see at War Games, because I think we will see a Bloodline Civil War take place at War Games with Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, Tonga Loa, and maybe The Rock against Roman Reigns, hopefully a returning Jimmy Uso, Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes bringing back Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, which will piss Kevin Owens off even more, because Kevin Owens is looking at Sami Zayn. Why are you going back to this story? Why are you getting involved into this storyline again? Why are you getting involved in this shit again? And not to say it will make Kevin Owens turn on Sami Zayn, but what if Sami Zayn turns on Kevin Owens and we get a heel Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens? Because it appears more so that Kevin Owens is more of, in my opinion, because I said it before, I don't want him to go back to being a heel, because it's this constant back and forth of 1 minute he's face, next minute he's heel. I think the sympathy that he will garner from the fans, and I said it before, I think the days of knowing who the babyface and the heels are is dwindling down, and we're getting to that point of the fans determining it. I think we will get Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I can see the Usos getting back together. I can see the Usos taking on Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. The one match that we are dying to see is this match right here. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. I think we need to see that. They've been teasing it, as you see in the photo right here. They teased it on SmackDown inside the cage. But we'll have to wait and see. There's more, but that is in the reaction to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns segment on SmackDown. So before I wrap up, I got about 10, 15 minutes. Let's talk about AEW, because there's questions I have about AEW. Booking, similar to the questions I had as far as the booking goes for like Roman Reigns and all this, but AEW's is more head scratching. All Out took place. Had some questionable moments. I'm not going to dive into any of that because it's in the past now. It's over. Grand Slam is this Wednesday. We have Jon Moxley going up against Darby Allin. with Darby Allin putting up his number one contender spot, his number one contender opportunity against Bryan Danielson, who Moxley said was unable to compete at Grand Slam because originally it was supposed to be Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley. I mean, Darby Allin versus Bryan Danielson. But because Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club almost tried to unalive Bryan Danielson, he said that Bryan Danielson was unable to compete. So we have Moxley going against Darby. Only for Nigel McGuinness to go to Tony Khan, and I believe it was in the same damn program or Collision, and basically say, I got a contract by Tony Khan to have a match at Grand Slam against Bryan Danielson. I repeat, the original plan was Darby Allin against Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam. Moxley tells Darby on Dynamite, Bryan is unable to compete at Grand Slam. Therefore, I want to face you at Grand Slam for your number one contender shot. But at Grand Slam, we are getting Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson. Now, I know some people will go with the story of, well, they're not saying, they're saying that if he's able to compete, he had the graphic made. And according to JD, which if you haven't checked out JD's rant about the booking decision for Will Ospreay and Ricochet, take your time, go to JD from NY206's short clips, and just watch the 41-minute rant that he did. I'm not going to yell and scream and holler like he did, because he is very passionate for AEW. But this is why I question AEW. This is why I don't like AEW, because of the decisions that they make like this. It makes your brain hurt when you think of, why the hell are you telling, or you're giving us Bryan Danielson versus Nigel McGuinness, even though Moxley said he's unable to compete, so Darby can't get his match, but Nigel can get a match against Bryan Danielson. Now, according to JD, it all has to do with it being in New York, New York's ROH presence. Everybody knows about the history of Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness. And this is why the AEW brand will never grow, because you're booking for the sickos. You're booking for just this small group of fans that clamor to this, that you think they know the history because of Tony Khan being this wrestling historian about everything outside, per se, the WWE. ROH, New Japan, Ring of Honor, ECW, WCW, NWA. He knows all about that. So he's kind of trying to make his dream matches happen. But it doesn't make any sense because for the fans that don't know the history behind Nigel and Bryan Danielson, build on it. Do something. Don't just come out there and just say, this is what we have going on. Because that's at one point what Vince was doing in the WWF or WWE, which had us sitting there trying to figure out why the fuck is this storyline happening? Because it doesn't make any damn sense. And now you're seeing the same thing with Tony Khan. But we've always seen that with Tony Khan. And Tony Khan likes to give us early access to certain matches like Will Ospreay and Ricochet. I'm one of the firm believers that you build on Ricochet and Will Ospreay, because if you have fans who are not familiar with Ricochet and Will Ospreay, other than the 5-minute video clip or 2-minute video clip that has went viral of them just countering each other with flips, no one knows the history between real Will Ospreay and Ricochet. And you don't build off of that. You don't create. You're not telling the story. You just had you had Will Ospreay tell Ricochet, hey, win some matches before you come see me. This man competed in 3 fucking matches and is getting an international championship opportunity against Will Ospreay on televised on the televised Dynamite, celebrating their 5-year anniversary. Very WCW-like, because Tony Khan, like Eric Bischoff, thrived for the ratings, television-wise. Didn't care about nothing else. Give y'all this match to this magnitude on television, on free cable. Speaking of Tony Khan recently was on Busted Open. And Tony Khan is the one that came out and said that Darby Allin and Jon Moxley have the most compelling storyline in wrestling today. I beg to differ. The Bloodline is the most compelling story in wrestling today, followed by CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I would even say the Judgment Day storyline is more compelling than Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. What do I see happening with Darby Allin? If possible, Darby Allin may beat Moxley. Darby Allin may go on to Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, Washington, and face Bryan Danielson and beat Bryan Danielson in Tacoma, Washington. Both of them are Washington boys. Bryan Danielson has been on record saying that he wants to have his final match in Tacoma, in Washington, and have it against Darby Allin. From my understanding, I believe that is what was said. So we have that happening. And if that happens, I still, to this day, believe that no matter what happens, we are going to get Christian as your world champion, and Edge and Christian having a match going into whatever. And we have Edge and Christian, we have Adam Copeland and Christian competing for the AEW World title. You have 2 former WWE stars. One is more of a star than the other one. One is a Hall of Famer. Christian should be. But this is what you have. Your world title is going to be in the arms of former WWE stars, in my opinion. Now, could that change? Could it actually not happen? Possibly. Could we get eventually Hangman winning the title and we get Hangman and Swerve for the umpteenth time? Yeah, I think that's the end goal. I would hope that's the end goal, that you have it where homegrown stars from AEW is your champ, not former WWE stars. Swerve got his name in the Indies, but everybody learned who Swerve was more so in NXT. But Swerve is who he is because he made the decision not to go back to the WWE, stick with AEW, and build his character to what he is now. Hangman is Hangman. As I was watching this interview, I was very disappointed in Dave LaGreca because this interview was bad all around. It's not getting a lot of good reviews. A lot of people are bashing it. They're attacking Dave LaGreca because Dave LaGreca did not retort, did not have any counters to Tony Khan's questions or answers or lack thereof. Because Tony Khan just was talking just to talk. He wasn't talking to answer. He was talking to just hear himself talk. And he was going on and on about how everything is so good in AEW, and AEW we're thriving right now, and we have some of the best things going on. I beg to differ because you have, for example, Jamie Hayter returned, and she's nowhere to be found on Dynamite. You have Mariah May, after being in one of the most intense stories in AEW, probably the best story in AEW, and now she's doing second to nothing. Where's Brent Baker? Miro now is asking apparently for his release. What's going on with House of Black? It's so many questions that I have that we need answers. And Dave LaGreca kind of was just, oh yeah, I'm glad, was very the typical person interviewing Tony Khan. Literally. Typical person interviewing Tony Khan. A lot of people were upset that Bully Ray was not involved in the interview, but I think that's because the last time Tony Khan was on said interview, he did not like Bully Ray's response. He didn't like how Bully Ray was combating and kind of questioning and countering the questions or the answers that Tony Khan was giving. And I think under these circumstances, Tony Khan said, I would do Bust It Open if Bully Ray isn't there. So that's that. Like I said before, this is it. Just briefly, Vince McMahon's documentary or docuseries will be dropping, I believe it's this Wednesday, the 25th. It is 6 parts, an hour apiece. I'm looking forward to this. A lot is going to be told. I heard or I read that a lot of the WWE backs or a lot of the WWE heads are not happy with the documentary. It started one way. We all know that Vince McMahon was doing this documentary. He was very heavily involved in it. But then once the allegations came about, it took a shift. They halted it. They brought it back. They finished it. But now it's going to turn into this darker realm. I'm looking forward to it, like I said. So next week, you will be getting 2 installments of Wrestle Talk. You will be getting your normal every week episode. And then you will get a special, I won't call it a special, but you will be getting a recap of the Vince McMahon docuseries. I'll be watching it over the course of leading up to my day that I come in to record. So with that being said, y'all, I am out. I miss doing this. Let me know what y'all thought of the episode. What do y'all think about Bad Blood, the card so far? We have about 2 weeks to get more matches. I think 1 or 2 matches will be announced. I did not talk about, obviously, Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso today on Raw for the Intercontinental title. Braun Breaker is going to win, but it's going to be a great match. We may see Gunther and Sami Zayn announced for Bad Blood. We may get Nia Jax defending the women's title at Bad Blood as well. Let me know what y'all thought about, or what do y'all think about what's going on with AEW? Do you think that there is just a shit ton of confusion there? And obviously, what do you think of the Vince McMahon documentary that will be dropping this Wednesday? Make sure you follow on Instagram at RCW_podcast. Make sure if you are new to this channel, you like, comment, and subscribe. More important, subscribe and hit that notification bell at the top so you are up to date of when more content is dropping. Also, make sure you follow the Ace at RCW_Ace. I do believe that he has dropped some content recently, so go make sure you check that out as well. I am the franchise, better known as the Podcast Tribal Chief. I am out till next week. God willing, I don't get sick again. I'm out. Later.